Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev El Zia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. place of light and love. You can't have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Cardenas, a practitioner here at CSL Denver. Welcome on this beautiful spring morning. So it's our time for invocation. So if you feel comfortable, you can just settle in your chairs and close your eyes and just focus inward into that breath and know that we are releasing everything that has happened this week, this morning to get here. And we know that we are moving into that awareness of spirit itself, that there is nowhere where spirit is not, that almighty energetic presence that lives and moves through everything. And we celebrate that presence, that divine mind, that intellectual presence, that creative mind this morning here, or whether you're out in nature itself, or in a synagogue, or a mosque, or a temple, or just at home in meditation. And we center here and know that this morning service is blessed. The message is blessed. Robert's message is blessed. The music is. And just the flow of this morning, that it speaks to us here this morning, and this message goes out into the community online. And know that our heartbeats are synchronized as we are all one. And so it is. This morning's reading I chose from your owner's manual, which unfortunately I think is out of print, but we're trying to find if we can get some more. Matter of fact, if you have one, you can make a lot of money on eBay with it because they're like $130. But anyway, we've just concluded a review of the Science Mind Principles, and Robert's talk is what's next. So at the end of this nice little concise book is the bottom line chapter. And from this chapter, it says, your body and everything in the world are but tools to teach what you believe is true. When you use your body or mind or anything to behave in a fearful way, you devalue it, which is a misuse resulting in a lowering of self-esteem. Persistent misuse must result in a breakdown. Everything that you use to teach love reveals its highest possible value. You always have a choice. In a state of fear, you may not seem to have a choice. It is therefore essential to first establish your peace through the aid of your inner vision, and then a variety of options will become apparent. You now know that your choices determine your experiences of life. Your first instruction in this manual was, don't let your past rule your choices today. It's time to establish for yourself that the only purpose for life is to teach love. And then, when Alice asked, which road should I take? The response was, well, where do you want to go? Alice replied, I'm not really sure. To which the answer was, then take any road you want. It really doesn't matter. When questions arise as to which choice you should make, simply ask yourself, what's my purpose for doing this? Or what do I really want to accomplish? Life will constantly present you with lures that tempt you to pretend that something is true, which you know is not. By definition, all lures are appealing, and yet they contain a barbed hook. Whenever you are lured into the temptation to pretend that you can teach some form of fear and yet still experience love, ask yourself, what am I pretending not to know? In a small town lived a wise man to whom everyone came for counsel. There also lived 2 boys who had devised a scheme to make a fool out of the wise man. They decided to capture a baby sparrow, and one of the boys, holding the bird, cupped it in his hands and would ask the wise man to guess what he was holding. As a setup, the boy would let a few tail feathers show between his fingers. Since the wise man would surely announce with pride that it was a baby sparrow, the boy would then ask if it was alive or dead. If the wise man said it was dead, the boy would immediately release it to fly away. But if he said it was alive, the boy would crush it in his hands and let it fall to the earth. So with the baby sparrow cupped securely in his hands, and to trick the wise man, the boy and his friend confronted the wise man and said, "Oh, wise man, what do I have in my hands?" Seeing a few tail feathers showing between the boy's fingers, the wise man easily declared, "Well, you are holding a baby sparrow." The wise man's quick response told the boy that his scheme was working perfectly. So the boy inquired, "Is it alive or is it dead?" To which the wise man replied, "It's in your hands." And now we have music from Susan Clark. She's singing a Melissa Etheridge song, "What Happens Tomorrow."
Hello, CSL Denver, and want to extend a special welcome to any of you who might be joining us now or later online. Happy to have you here. I jumped into my Wayback Machine and I picked out a song by Melissa Etheridge. This is called "What Happens Tomorrow," and I thought it fit in well with the question you posed about what now? What do we do now? I haven't played guitar for you for a while, so I thought I would show you that I can still do it. Famous last words, huh? Okay. See Thank you.
And thank you to Susan Clark, all the way from New Mexico, here with us today at the Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. Thank you, dear ones, for having me back. It's good to see you all again. It feels like it's been a lifetime since I've been here. And many of you know that since the last time I've been here, I've had a chance to travel to Africa and experience what's happening with the philosophy that is the science of mind in Kenya. And we're going to talk just a little bit about that today. Because originally I was scheduled to be here a couple weeks back, and scheduling and with Reverend Elzia, and things got moved around. So I'm here today. It's Palm Sunday. Thank you for being with us. It's also springtime in the Rockies. So those of you that are from here know, and for those online, we're going to fill you in on the secret right here and right now. Springtime in the Rockies means it can be summer in the morning and winter in the afternoon, or vice versa. Be winter in the morning and summer in the afternoon. Today, it's a little undetermined. So that means we're going to get both somehow, some way today. So springtime in the Rockies, always a good time. Thank you for having me back. So what's next? It's a good question. I remember a number of years back, sitting in a great hall in Asilomar, California, and the speaker walked out onto the stage and looked at us and said, "Your judgments of me have already created an experience in your life." Then he followed it up by saying, "And what I want you to know is the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your questions." Now, you've probably heard me say that second part more than a few times because I fell in love with that thought right then and there. The quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your questions. And the question today is, what's next? Now, this is part of, and I want to kind of set the environment for you a little bit. This is part of an ongoing conversation that's happening within the Centers for Spiritual Living. And over the last several years, we have been developing these annual themes. And the theme takes on it's a kind of a life of its own. And some communities, some ministers, some churches do decide to use those themes. Some don't. Some switch them up a little bit. Some make them a little bit different. And then, of course, you've got CSL Denver, where we like to color outside the lines anyway. Always have. So when you go home this afternoon, you might see a whole bunch of different options from various communities to look at this same question of what's next. It's part of a grand rising. It's part of what I believe is a reimagining. We're not really to the Reformation yet. We're not to the reforming yet. But we're in a reimagining of what contribution the New Thought philosophy, the science of mind philosophy, can contribute to the world, can contribute to humanity. And I'm going to tell you, it's a huge question. Last month in February, and it's the traditional month where Centers for Spiritual Living, we all get together at our annual conference, or maybe we call it a convention this year, or maybe we call it a gathering. We all pile into a resort somewhere, or at least a lot of people do, and talk a lot about the state of this grander global organization, if you will. And I think that is one of the answers of what's next. The time has come, I believe, to move away from learning about this stuff and actually living this stuff. Now, the unique part about this, and that's a theme that we're hearing amongst a lot of leaders within the New Thought movement, not just in Centers for Spiritual Living, but in the Unity movement, in the Divine Science movement, in the independent New Thought communities across the planet. I hear more and more that people want to know what they're doing makes a difference. Well, here's the good news. Just by the fact that you're here on the planet breathing means you are making a difference. Means that your life matters. Who you are and what you bring to the world makes a difference. And We want to remember it's all based in consciousness. So I'm going to ask our producer, Diego, to bring up that first slide for us, if you would, sir. Ernest Holmes wrote back a long time ago in the book Love and Law, we must open up the doors of our consciousness and expand and expand and expand, and no longer think in terms of the backyard lot, but in the terms of the infinite nature of the universe. Thank you, sir. See, what that speaks to me is that this thing that was planted in our consciousness, this thing called the science of mind philosophy, is not bound by any location. It's equally available everywhere and to everyone. And more, I love how I can hear, how I do hear the principles and the practices that we teach here at the Center for Spiritual Living, that we teach across all of New Thought, the principles and the practices showing up in all kinds of interesting places. I'm reading a book currently. It's called Weird Church. They know me. And someone recommended this to me. It's called Weird Church, and it's written by a couple of folks that are very clear that the traditional Christian form of worship is dead. It's going away. We see declining numbers of attendance across, excuse me, now I went and hit the button I'm not supposed to hit. Declining across all faith traditions. New Thought, Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, Islam, we're all kind of finding ourselves. And here's what I think is happening. It's not so much that the numbers are going down, it's that the numbers are coming back to one. Because in this book, Weird Church, as Christian as these folks are, as hardcore, they're looking at how do they bring Jesus back to everybody. And they're very clear that that's their mission. But they're looking at it from a perspective that says, how do we do it differently? And if I look at the words they are using, they're speaking New Thought. They're talking about the things we've been talking about in New Thought for a couple of decades now. And after being in this movement for almost 25 years now, I can tell you, we talk a great game. We have a little bit of a tough time putting it into action sometimes. So off we go to Kenya to see what's happening with New Thought, the science of mind, in Nairobi, in Kenya. And there has been a Center for Spiritual Living Kenya. It has been there for a number of years now. Not very many people heard too much about it here in North America for a while. And in 2020, they had a conference. Somehow they managed to have this conference in that year of 2020, the year when everything was canceled. And this year was the return, was the second time this community got together. And a lot of people knew I was going and would ask me questions, what do you intend to do? How are you going to support them? What are you going to do to, and I realized our job, every one of us, is not to implant or lay New Thought over top of what's going on. My job wasn't to go to Kenya and say, this is how you do it. This is what it means. This is how you do this practice, and this is how you do this practice. I believe we have reached that point in this movement where our job is to support the natural uprising of New Thought, of the science of mind, wherever it is, however it looks, wherever it shows up, and in whatever language they're using. Not everybody's going to use the words that Ernest used. We must expand our consciousness. We must expand our ability to look at what's happening not only in our lives, but across the entire planet from that perspective of oneness. I use a phrase a lot. It's actually one of our logos for New Thought Media Network. Deeply we are one. Deeply we are one. And I know I'm one of those guys that can forget that. I can real easily the news or the politics, or did you hear what this representative said, or did you hear what happened in this city around gun violence, or the good news that's happening in our world around social justice and equity. And it's real easy to slip into that. They're wrong. That's not right. She shouldn't do that. He can't say that. In a world where we are one, I believe we're being called to express that in an even greater and greater way. I have a great example of the proof of this. Those that know me know I'm real big and real deep into the life visioning process. It is one of the primary spiritual practices of the Centers for Spiritual Living and growing within the New Thought movement as a whole. Yes, I love my prayer time. Yes, I love my meditation time. Yes, I love to fill my journals with all kinds of wonderful stuff. But nothing jazzes me quite like a conversation with the divine in the visioning process. And I was in a visioning session this past week and with a couple other people, and it was one of those experiences where when we got done and we started sharing things, it was almost eerie how incredibly aligned everybody's message was, what everybody received in these questionings. And I'll back up for a minute for anyone that may not know what the visioning process is. It's a meditative process where we ask a series of questions, powerful questions, the kind of questions that can change our lives, the kind of questions that direct and help to shape our lives. And in the answers and sharing the answers that we got to these questions this day, it was, wow, this is straight up. We're all saying exactly the same thing. And someone in the group said, I can't believe how aligned we are. And I said, but that is our job. Because there is not three visions. There's one vision. And we were each a conduit of allowing that vision to reveal itself. We each had a little piece, a part to play. Now, for some reason, it was pretty important that the three of us hear the same message. And what I know is if all of us here were to sit around for an extra hour or so after church, you're all ready for this, right? We're going long session today, folks. We're going into overtime. So if we were to sit together in these questions, we would find those same similarities. Because God is trying to be itself through every one of us. The divine has to have an outlet for its creative power, and that is you, and that is me, and that's everyone online, and that is everyone everywhere. Even if I don't like their politics. I know that's a tough one. Even if I don't like what they're saying, or how they're trying to show up. Now, if you're hurting somebody, that's a little different. I don't believe it's our job to change people's consciousness. I believe it is our job to expand our own consciousness and see that the person that is doing the harm is the one that is probably even more harmed, is the one that needs our prayer work even more. The one perpetuating the crime is the one that needs the most healing. So again, our job becomes the ability, the opportunity to see the divine in the midst of everything that's going on. Everything. Diego, we'll take that next slide, please, if you would, sir. This is also by Ernest Holmes. This is a little bit later in the book, Love and Law, on page 138. There is not only is there an activity of mind and spirit ready, it is surging forward with tremendous power. The seed that grows in the crevice in the wall has the power to burst the wall. You get it, you're the seed, right? You get it that the wall is the way it's always been. The theme for the month is this is the way we've never done it before. What's next? We got to do church different, folks. We got to do spiritual community differently. And we've got to do our own lives differently. It's easy to be an armchair quarterback on Monday and talk about what the politicians said on last Friday. It's easy to sit in a place and say corporations shouldn't do this. I watched a documentary this past week on the history of Cannon City here in Colorado. Anybody know? I didn't either. It's a mess. There's a reason that real estate's cheap down there. It's polluted. It's radioactive. It's a long-running, multi-decade problem. And I didn't know it was a Superfund site. It's an EPA Superfund site. I think it's our opportunity to be able to look at the things that are happening in our lives and in the world and not just push that problem aside. Not just say, oh, well, that's in Cannon City. And the government's taking care of that, and the local people are taking care of that, and the company that started the problem is going to take care of that. Now, I'm not saying that we have to put on hazmat suits and go down to Cannon City and try to physically clean what's going on. But how long would it take to write a letter to the governor? How long would it take to write an email to a senator? How long would it take to ask our representatives to do something that benefits the people of the state of Colorado rather than their own fame and their own glory? I was out of town last week visiting some old friends in Utah, some people, one guy I hadn't seen in 30 years, picked up like nothing was missing, because we're one. And during that, my wife sent me a photo that said Mr. Reed Brzezinski, and I'm like, well, that's my son's name. Why are you sending me a photo of this? And what she was communicating to me was that my 18-year-old was writing our representatives and our senators around I'm going to admit it, I don't even know the bill they're talking about. Something to do with kids and the internet. I run a media company. I should probably be aware of this. And he's writing letters and receiving responses for issues, and he's barely over 18. It made me stop and say, why haven't I done this? I'm the adult in the house. Why haven't I done this? Why haven't my wife and I both done this? See, what's next is that we've got to stop sitting around in rooms and reading our books at night and studying our how this works and work it. There's a great metaphysician, New Thought leader out of Chicago. She's no longer with us. Built a fabulous church, Christ Universal Temple. Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. She made this phrase famous. It works if you work it. You know, I've seen it again and again and again in my time in this philosophy. Somebody comes in the door, they get all psyched, they're happy to be here. Now, maybe they're sitting in the back and they cry for the first few sessions. That happens a lot too. When you hear the truth for the first time, it can sometimes be emotional. And people get jazzed and we start to learn about this philosophy and we learn a little more. And maybe we end up in practitioner training and now we learn a little more. And then maybe we get the call to ministry and we go and we learn a little more. And then somebody says, hey, you can go over here and do this doctorate program. And we do that and you learn a little more. But along the way, we forget to work it. We're so busy learning how to fix things, but we're not fixing things. Consciousness alone can do wonders. I have changed my life through my own consciousness. But I also had to do the work of learning how to balance my checkbook. I had to do the work of learning how to organize myself, my life, my business, all of the various parts and pieces of this thing called life. And I hear people all the time, wow, this stuff really works. They get a check in the mail, or their insurance company says, hey, we didn't pay, or somebody paid too much, so there's another check coming in the mail, or you're looking for the right car and it shows up out of nowhere. This stuff really works. So how are we working it? What are we doing to work it? I think, Center for Spiritual Living, I think you've hooked on to something that's really a cool idea, actually. And I'm sorry I couldn't be here a couple weeks ago for Spiritual Cinema Night, because I think it's a great way to work it, to take this message in a different and new way that doesn't look like church, that doesn't look like some white guy preaching at you, lecturing you. And I have a suggestion for maybe one of your next ones, and that's Hector and the Search for Happiness. And it's actually available on Amazon Prime right now on the free level. So if you're on Amazon Prime, go check out Hector and the Search for Happiness. I think in some ways that movie points us to how we can each take our own individual action out into the world. Because who you are matters. How you show up in this world makes a difference. Some of us are going to write our representatives. Some of us might feel compelled to go march downtown at the Capitol building some afternoon for some reason or another. Some of us may feel compelled to create a podcast or a video broadcast. Some of us may feel compelled to just keep ourselves below the radar, but help out at a soup kitchen or a shelter or in some great organization. We've got tons of them around Colorado, helping the people that don't understand this yet, that haven't gotten that, oh, that's how it works moment. But I don't believe New Thought is truly a religion, because we're really open to everyone. Everyone has the power within to use these principles and create the life they truly desire. Done deal, plain and simple. That's all there is to it. What's next? Well, you get to tell us that. You get to make that up for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Go to Kenya. Go to Detroit. Go to Des Moines. I pick on Des Moines a lot. I'm sorry, Des Moines. If there's anybody out there from Des Moines, I pick on Des Moines a lot. You've got to make this up so it works for you, and so it works for the betterment of humanity, so that we're not doing any harm, so we're not putting anybody down. And if there are people in your life that you just can't talk about, if there are politicians that push your buttons, ignore it. No big deal. Somebody else will be here to do it. If somebody needs to be corrected, there's somebody on the planet that'll correct them. If there's somebody that needs to be held accountable, there's somebody that needs to be held accountable and can do it in a loving and caring and compassionate way. And if that's not you, no judgments, that's cool. Just ignore them. Put it to the side. I believe there is a vision, one vision, that is true for all of us. Just as I believe there is one truth that is the divine expressing itself. And so our mantra for the week is twofold. One that was suggested and one that I added on to. So we'll take that next slide there, please, Diego. Grounded in truth, I step forward into even greater goodness. Would you all say that with me? Grounded in truth, I step forward into even greater good. And then the rejoinder to that, we'll take the next one, Diego. Whoa. We'll go to that next one. There it is. Lifted by vision, I step forward into even greater good. You are both grounded in good, and within you is a vision of even greater good. You are the very seed that will break down the walls of injustice, inequity, poverty, the unhoused. I don't know what good you're going to do, but I know you're here to do good. So let's work it together. You with me?
Yes.
Then let's pray. I take the time to close my eyes and turn away from the distractions, turn away from the conditions, so I may recognize the one. So I may recognize that one power, that one presence, that one infinite intelligence that's operating as all of life, as my life, as the lives of each and every one in this room, everyone watching online, those beyond that, those that'll never hear these words, those that'll never even come in contact with this philosophy. Right there, I recognize the divine oneness revealing itself in unique and magnificent and awe-inspiring and yes, even confusing ways. This one self-existent cause is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. This one reveals itself as your life in this moment, in every moment. And so today we celebrate that which is within, that sacred calling of the divine, that still small voice, that loud rumble, that slap in the back of the head, whatever it may be, that reminds us of our magnificence, of our greatness. See, what I know is I know that you come from greatness. I know that you are greatness. And I know that you are creating greatness as you work it. So I stand this day grounded in the truth of the divine, grounded in the truth of absolute knowing there is a power for good in the universe, and it is operating through my hands, through my heart, through the hands and the hearts and the minds of everyone everywhere. I stand grounded in that and cast forward a vision of a world that works for all life. A world where there is enough of everything, where we are free from all the restrictions, we are free from all the self-limiting beliefs, where we recognize there is enough food, there is enough of everything for everyone, that there is enough housing for everyone, that there is no reason for someone to be sleeping on the streets other than maybe just camping out, having a good time. We come to that place where we envision a world working for all. And whatever that looks like for you, the invitation is to go work it. To go use what is yours, to use the magnificence, the greatness you are, to create greatness in the world. A world that works for all. I am so very, very, very grateful to be a part of this, to be witness to this, to be here in this moment of what's next and recognize that what's next is a loving wave, a wave of love and compassion, a wave of vision washing over the planet, washing away everything that no longer serves so we may create newly and create justly. Create a world that works for everyone. So from this place of gratitude, I release this word into the universal law, that co-creative law that must demonstrate, that must take this word and create, that cannot return this word void, that must make it so. I cast this vision, this prayer into that law and let it be. And if any word of this has resonated with you in any way, I invite you to join me in an affirmation of truth as we say together, and so it is. So it is. Thank you, dear ones.
tell whether I'm good. Okay. We are so great. Well, I'm not good. There we go. We are so grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially during this time of change. Whether this is your first time joining us or you are a returning community participant, we want to thank you for your continuing financial support of the important work we are striving to provide. Right now, there are several ways you can make your financial contribution to CSL Denver, and the information is running there along the bottom of the screen. Now, please repeat with me our usual affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. And we do have some announcements before we close out today. I have some older Science Mind magazines over on the table. If you've never read any one of those magazines, they're really great. And they have now become a bi-monthly magazine. So the current magazines are for March and April, and they are $4, and the other ones are free. So pick one up. If you would like to hear some good news of the world to inform the good in the world, we have a link on our Facebook page called And Now the Good News. This program is put together by New Thought Media Network, run by Robert. We are so lucky to have him. And airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can watch these anytime during the week. Just go to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and click on any post that says, And Now the Good News. New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs, and we invite you to go to www.ntmedia.org and check out what they have. There's something for everyone. We are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays and watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of this year, the Divine Beloved is guiding and loving each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us. And now let's close out with Karen Drucker singing I'm So Grateful. Please join us for fellowship after this. Thank you.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey, oh yeah, grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. I'm so grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I just count my blessings. Grateful. I just count my
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively
inspiring.